All right. Hey, good morning. Well, it's Thursday, um, October 2nd, 2025, and let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just you know doing some reading in the morning, and like I said before, this isn't some audio book by professionals, so uh, take it or leave it. But uh, man, I sure would have liked it if my grandfathers had the opportunity to do this. So I'm trying to do it, and you know, maybe it'll be a blessing or something nice. My you know grandkids have one day. So anyway, here we go. Matthew chapter 7. It's about judging others. So this ought to be good. Do not judge, or you will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, "Let me take that speck out of your eye," when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the plank out of your own eye, then you will clearly or see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to the pigs. If you do, they may be trampled, or they may trample them under their feet, and then turn and tear you to pieces. Um, just some advice from our. Hang on one second, honey. Quit. I think Honey's trying to get the last bit of her food out of her bowl there. Um, but that's Matthew 7, verse 6. Um, I'm not quite sure that Jesus is talking about dogs and pigs necessarily. So I don't know. It's a rough world and rough, relationships and all this kind of stuff. Uh, so um, I don't know. I would spend some time looking at Matthew 7, verse 6, and seeing if that sparks something. Because I don't know. To me, it's super easy to, honey, quit. I think the more I say, honey, quit, the more she's thinking, "I'm going to get out of here if I keep doing it." Um, anyway, I tend to be more open with people close and not close to me than I should be, and this is, I think, what Jesus is talking about. Um, and I get hurt. All right, let's go. Verse 7: Ask and it will be given to you; seek and you will find; knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives; he who seeks finds; and to him who knocks the door will be open. Which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts. Hey, enough! I'm obviously trying to do something here. Are you kidding me? Meadow, is that you? Stop. Okay. Sorry, I had a little interruption I had to deal with there for a second. Here we go. Verse 7 and 11. If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So, in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. If you pay attention, you may experience that in your own life or look around and see few find it. It's difficult. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from the thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit you will recognize them. That's really important. Thus, by their fruit you will recognize them. I've heard it said another, similar way. You can hear all the words you want. It's look at behavior. It's a scary thing to do. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons and perform many miracles? Then I will tell you plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. Therefore, anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, and the streams rose, the winds blew, beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against his house, and it fell with a great crash. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he had taught as one who had authority, and not as their teachers of the law. Gosh. Let's just go to chapter 8. When they came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. I am willing, he said, be clean. Immediately he was cured of his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, see that you don't tell anyone, but go and show yourself to the priest and offer the gifts Moses commanded as a testimony to them. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, he sorry, a centurion came to him, asking for help. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home, paralyzed and in terrible suffering. Jesus said to him, I will go and heal him. The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. Let a dog out. So, for those of you who don't know, this is my office. It's inside my dog kennel. So I have my dogs right here with me all day while I work, but uh, sometimes they don't cooperate while you're just trying to read quietly. So, especially when you're recording, I guess. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to jump back in. Sorry, I'm just going to start at verse 8 in chapter 8, Matthew. The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one to go, and he goes. I tell one to come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was astonished and said to those following him, I tell you the truth. I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and the west and will take their places at the feast of with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, Go, it will be done just as you believed it would. And his servant was healed that very hour. Jesus heals many. When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her. He got up and began to wait on him. She got up and began to wait on him. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed the sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and carried our diseases. The cost of following Jesus. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus replied, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Another disciple said to him, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. But Jesus told him, Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. Jesus calms the storm. Then he got into a boat with his disciples, and his disciples followed him. Without warning, a ferocious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping, and the disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us, we're going to drown. He replied, You of little faith, why are you so afraid? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him. When he arrived at the other side of the region of Gadarenes, sure. I'm also not a Hebrew or Greek scholar or whatever. Two demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. What do you want us? What do you want with us, Son of God? They shouted. Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time? Some distance from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the pigs." He said to them, "Go." So they came out, went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. Those tending the pigs ran off, went into town, and reported all of this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. All right, that was Matthew 8. That's quite a bit in that. Especially 5 through 7. I think that's pretty much a lot of what's wrong with us today is you can read through Matthew 5 through 7 and take it as warm and fuzzy, instead of applying it. Sorry, that kind of went out. Instead of applying it, and even like Jesus is talking about in Matthew 7. And I know some of my other videos come down on it kind of hard probably, but this is not for the weak, and this is not for it's not for weak men. And this isn't this is instruction, and this instruction goes against what your church often displays or tells you as being an example of a Christian. And I have been fighting against this for a long time. And I'm unable to put it to words until more recently, because I've heard a lot of other pastors and authors in Jesus here, starting to actually talk about this idea of weak men, or as we like to say sometimes around here. I heard from another pastor, somehow we've gotten the idea that as long as we practice the 11th commandment, being nice, there's no 11th commandment. It's a sarcastic thing, but we associate being Christian with being nice, and that's not in here, and that's not accurate. Kindness, nice is not the same thing. So there's that, but then also Jesus is saying it in Matthew 7 here. Just the overwhelming wisdom that we don't ever pull out of here, I think. Not only with judging others, but man, so often we give pieces of ourselves to dogs, as he's talking about. Don't give to dogs what's sacred. Don't give yourself away to just, dogs, to to people that don't care about you, to people that you are going to hurt you. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. I don't know why we can't get this, if you had a expensive pearl necklace, I've never even seen, I don't think, an expensive pearl necklace. I'm not from that kind of camp, but you know, uh, if you had one, I can't imagine, you would throw it out to pigs, because obviously pigs don't care about pearls; they're just going to run all over it. But when it comes to your heart, your feelings, your thoughts, you know, sharing stuff about you, um, a lot of times we're willing to just jump in there and do it, um, super fast, or even without wisdom, uh, or evaluating like the true level of trust that we have in somebody to care for us the way that we care about them, do things that we would do, and other people aren't the same, and they won't do the same things the same way that you would do. Um, and that includes caring for you and being nice or kind, or whatever you want to do. Say, um, a lot of times we're throwing the pearls like of our heart, our thoughts, ourselves to pigs without a second thought, or maybe without another thought until it's too late, and that person starts running around, saying whatever they want about you, and that's okay. I've made this mistake a bazillion times, and I still do, and it's so frustrating because um, I don't know. Uh, I'm usually pretty quiet, but like when I do get into conversation, or even on this, um, I do like to share and talk and be open, and like try and actually have a real, authentic connection, especially like with uh, whether it's family or Christian brothers, sisters, kind of thing. Um, but it can be difficult, I guess, and that's where like we have to not just read this and see what Jesus is talking to these people about in the Sermon on the Mount. Um, but he's teaching them this for a reason, and teaching really like the foundation of being a Christ follower, because all these people are coming from the law, the Jewish side of things in the Old Testament and all of that, and so this is like completely different for them, and we take it for granted. But I don't know. I need this wisdom, and the instruction for myself, big time. Uh, anyway, sorry. I know I've kind of gone on there for a little bit, but I don't know. Uh, and I know some of you are coming from a Christian background of, you know, uh, you have an idea of this is wrong and that's wrong and blah, blah, blah. And so smoking a cigar and reading the Bible is heresy or something to you. And I understand. You know, uh, have similar kind of background. Um, and I can go into all kinds of logical rationale about, you realize this is just a plant. There's nothing added to it. There's, 3 different levels of a tobacco plant rolled up onto here. This one does have a little bit of coffee flavor, so that is added. But otherwise, there's nothing else. But if you go drink, Diet Coke that's got 200 chemicals in it, you're perfectly fine. Anyway, I won't go into all that. But what I will say is part of the reason that I do this, um, or that, it no longer bothers me, is because it shouldn't. I'm here to read and this and that, and this is not the end all be all of being a Christian or not being a Christian or being, this or that. And your opinion doesn't count. The opinion's in here, and it's not the opinion. The truth is in here, regardless of what you say, regardless of what you think, regardless of what I think, regardless of how legalistic your family or church wants to be. Don't listen to this stuff. These disciples, these guys in the New Testament, were not the same as us. They were men. They came from hard backgrounds. They, even after probably making one of the hardest decisions of their life to leave everything and follow Jesus, had a more difficult life than they even had before that. With the law, their church, the Pharisees, all this coming after them. We don't need Pharisees today. It's over. I'm really, really, really tired of the Pharisee mindset. It's ruined our churches. It's ruined people like me who do struggle and have struggled tremendously with things and can't go to, some churches because of the Pharisee legalistic mindset. It's just, I have a friend that works his tail off in doing construction. And he, had some tattoos done when he was younger, over time, whatever. Nothing's like too crazy or anything. But he gets involved in this church, and then, they start trying to convince him, like, you got to remove this stuff and blah, 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 which is fine. If you want to remove your tattoos, don't care. The church telling you that you need to remove your tattoos to be a Christian, to go to heaven, to be right with God and all this and that, I do care, because you have scars on your body that you can't remove. And that's what this is. This stuff is not usually just for fun. This stuff is from pain and hard times, trying to make it, trying to survive. And if you haven't been there, you don't understand. Then I get it. It's super easy to judge. Totally get it. The Pharisees judge. They don't care. They want you to look just like them or you're wrong. Act just like them or you're wrong. It's heartbreaking because they have destroyed me many times. My family, they destroy people all the time. Because they're not remotely follow what we just read in Matthew 5-7. Somehow they think they're in Leviticus. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's just sickening. It's sickening how you can do that to people. So the important, I don't know. One of the important things, I'll stop here a second. One of the important things to me is I've let that stuff drive me away from God. I've let my relationships in hard times, drive me away from God, from everything. Just because you don't know how to handle it. It's conflicting when you have Jesus over here saying one thing in the Bible. You have the church over here saying another thing. You have, maybe a relationship, family, friend, whatever over here saying another thing. And especially when you're a young guy, if you don't have, something that really pushes you toward the truth, then, you're going to struggle to bounce between all three of these different things telling you different things. It makes it so hard. It makes it harder than it even, had to be in the first place. So, I don't know. All that to say, the terribleness, the Pharisees, the legalistic stuff, the you shouldn't be, reading the Bible and smoking a cigar type mentality. Is a load of garbage. Why don't you care more about people than about cigars or about whatever else, tattoos, or it doesn't matter what it is. You care more about people. Then maybe once you get to know people, you can figure out what's actually going on in their life, and you can be helpful in their life. You can push them in the right direction, or the truthful direction, or whatever. But ridiculous judgment, I don't know, it's just wrong. Drives more people away from God, away from church, away from healing, away from heaven than anything else. Don't be terrible. Just don't be terrible. I don't know why we even have to say this, but there's so much terrible. Just took a nosedive, like straight down, didn't it? Sorry. It's really not, Yeah, I'll get off the soapbox. Kind of got on a roll there, huh? All right, well, happy Thursday. I don't know if it's your Thursday, but anyway, I will be back tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there. All right, have a good day.